Hey there, Brian Roysindul here. I'm the host of the Fit Growth Machine podcast. And today we have another great episode because we are going to talk about e-commerce growth strategies through affiliate marketing, SEO, and email automation. But before introducing today's guest, let me tell you that this episode is brought to you by BSR Digital. At BSR Digital, we help e-commerce brands that want to scale their business to the next level through Facebook, Instagram, and Google Ads. BSR Digital knows that most e-commerce brands want to grow their sales, but they lack a solid plan and professional team to help them succeed. That's why BSR Digital offers strategic plans, implementations, optimizations, and account audits to help more than 1,000 e-commerce brands like yours grow their business and surpass their competitors. To learn more, you can visit us at bsrdigital.com, and you can also email us at hello@bsrdigital.com. Okay, as promised, today we have a great guest. His name is Philip Hill, and he's the founder and CEO at Purebred Marketing. Hey, Philip, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So I know you have a pretty interesting story. At least I found it pretty interesting. So please go ahead and tell the audience about it.
Yeah, so I'm really an accidental agency owner. We started out by having some of our own brands, mostly e-commerce stores, some other companies, but all that, if it wasn't e-com, revolved around online lead generation, where at least that piece could drive most of the growth. And I tell people, when you rank at the top of Google for everything, which is how we drove most of our traffic and sales initially early on, nobody knows other than the people that are searching those terms. So as social started coming out, people can see what you're doing on social. That's the whole purpose of social, right? And so as we started building, bigger followings for our companies of 10, 20, 50, 100,000 followers, it started, getting a lot of attention. And so initially it was friends and family coming to us saying, what are you doing? I post for my business every day. I have 500 followers. I can't figure it out. And so it started with helping them to it working for all of their businesses. And so then people are doing the same to them, saying, what are you doing? How are you growing this following and driving so many sales from social, that they were referring everybody to me. And so it turned into kind of consulting. And then from there, it was like, okay, there's a ton of demand. We clearly know what we're doing. Let's just build out an agency around kind of our core competencies for our own businesses that we have, a lot of experience and expertise in, and let's start offering that to other services. And next month, I believe, will be 5 years in business.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember, having a following, it's really important nowadays, but it was a huge thing when I remember Facebook started, and every brand out there was giving away even their house or whatever to get followers, right? They were giving away cars, trucks, and big things to get a few followers or fans back then. So I know it was a huge thing. And do you think it's still relevant today?
It definitely is. A lot of what we do at our agency at Purebred, it really has nothing to do with social now. That's just kind of how we got started. Even though we had a lot of areas of expertise outside of that, that's just what was, attracting attention and bringing people to us. Social is still relevant. I would say the biggest misconception is people think that social is purely for branding and that you can't drive sales through social, which is just completely, it's just not true, for one. And for two, if you have strategies that are cohesive with the omni-channel approach, you can utilize social to indirectly drive sales as well by nurturing or acquiring, contact information in various ways, giveaways, brand partnerships, things like that. And then utilizing things like, custom audiences and lookalike audiences within, paid channels or within email and SMS as well. That's really effective. So I think social is a core piece of most any business, especially if it's, consumer products. You have to have a good, social presence.
Yeah, 100%. I remember that's how we got started in 2013. The first version of the agency I currently own, it was all about organic, marketing, creating strategies, posts, all stuff. And I remember some business owners saying, Brian, how do I get, customers? And I'm like, are you not are not happy with the shares, with the comments, with the likes. And he said, yeah, but probably it's not how I make money. So how can he help me? And I said, crap, I need to do something extra. So lead generation back then and then e-commerce. But yeah, I'm totally with you. It would be great for, as I said, consumer products, for back and forth, for customer support, for getting the voice of customer, for getting many things. But yeah, you need to complement that with many other things, which is what you currently do, right? So we I would like to focus the conversations on e-commerce businesses mainly, and I know these have been some special years, COVID, supply chain, and many issues. Well, now the war there affecting many things, and the inflation, economic crash ahead. So many crazy things going on right now. So, what do you think e-commerce brands are currently struggling with?
I mean, I would say hands down right now, the biggest struggles are paid channels due to attribution, significantly of like all the data breaches and things have made it harder to target. But if you can't attribute sales, all of your performance marketing should be based on metrics. And if you cannot tell what you're making for every dollar spent, it makes it really, really difficult to scale and how to optimize your budget. So not only is attribution harder, but CPMs are going up, CPCs are going up. So just cost in general is going up. So now people are reaching out to try a lot of people moving to TikTok ads, Snapchat ads, things like that. It doesn't really help from an attribution standpoint because it's not a Facebook, Instagram thing. It's a, iOS browser issues that we're running into. But the organic channels, they change, they evolve. But they stay fairly consistent. The paid channels they're getting pretty tough.
Yeah. And what about outside those channels? Because I know that paid channels could be very helpful, but also, as you said, it's not the only thing out there. So there are many other things e-commerce brands can leverage to grow their business. So, for example, I know you guys do SEO. So why do you think that's important for an e-commerce brands? For an e-commerce brand, sorry.
So SEO has been my background is, that was the search was really the first thing that I dove into from a marketing standpoint, search, paid search, and then realized, man, I don't have to spend any money if I can just rank at the top of Google organically, and taught myself SEO. That was over a decade ago now. SEO is great for a few reasons. One reason why I like it so much is it should be over time, your ROI always grows, and it should really be your second highest ROI channel behind email and SMS because you own that customer data. It's very inexpensive to remarket to people. So email, SMS should always be your highest ROI channel for any established brand. But the way that I explain this to people for SEO, the value of SEO versus paid is the downside of SEO is it takes some time. If you could push a button to get to the top of Google, everybody would do it. And you can, it's with Google Ads, you pay for it. So with organic, it takes some time. But with paid, if you spend $1 to make 2, and 2 to make 4, and 4 to make 8, and you keep scaling that up, whatever that ROAS is, you want to continue to scale, but your return on ad spend is going to be roughly the same as you scale. With SEO, you can spend the same monthly budget month over month, year over year, and your traffic should always be growing, and from that, your sales should always be growing. So as opposed to having a 2, 3, 5, 6x ROAS, in a year you might have a 10x, 2 years you might have a 25x, and in 5 years you might be making 50x. You're not going to see that with any paid channels, which is why I love SEO. The other thing that I love about SEO is it's responsive marketing. So if you think of some type of interruptive marketing or advertising such as social ads, you now have to find the right audience. You now have to educate and test those audiences to make sure it's the right audience. You now have to educate the audience on why they should be interested in your products. You then have to nurture that audience to build trust. And then you have, over that period of touch points, then try to convert them. With responsive marketing, we're starting, halfway down the funnel. If people are searching for what you offer and we can put in front of them what that is that they're searching for and responding to that search query in that way, there's a pretty dang good chance that they're going to convert and they're going to buy. And so even if you have retargeting ads and things like that set up, it's still a lot fewer touch points that you need after that. So those are kind of the main reasons that I love SEO, and you can build a brand just on the back of SEO itself.
Yeah. And how do I know as a e-commerce owner, let's say, that SEO is for me, or is it for anybody, for everybody?
It's not for everybody. So there's kind of three main buckets that I look at with SEO. So the first is search volume. How many people are searching for products or related search queries to my products and categories? And if the search volume is not high enough to yield results, that in and of itself can kill your SEO. That there's just no point in really optimizing. A lot of times we get people that have like new innovative products that are really cool, but nobody knows they exist because they created something that the category didn't exist before, in which case nobody's searching for that. So there's nothing to respond to in a responsive marketing capacity. So the first thing is search volume. The second is the competition. So now we see there are enough people searching to yield this profitable for me, but what's the competitive landscape? Are we going to be able to find holes that we're not just competing against giant big box stores that we can, that we'll be able to rank well and in turn get traffic and sales from? And then the third is just buying intent. So if there's a lot of searches that are product specific or category specific, those are going to convert really well because they have high buying intent. Somebody's looking for that product to buy. If there is, kind of indirect terms that maybe you're writing more content on, you just want to make sure there's enough content that you could produce because the intent, you want to write that content in a way that it elicits some intent behind those searches that you can drive people through to your product pages to drive sales. So those are kind of the three main buckets: search volume, competitive landscape, and intent behind the searches.
I like that. So about let's say the myth. I know there are myths around different things in industries, but what about SEO? What are some of the common false beliefs or myths?
I mean, the first myth that comes to mind is people just say, well, I thought SEO was dead. I'm like, there are billions of searches every single day on Google. What would make it have died? I don't understand where that comes from, but we hear it all the time of people say, well, I need some other marketing tactics. I don't think that SEO, works anymore. And that it's a common myth, but it makes no sense to me. We see clients every day making tons and tons of money off of SEO. And again, due to that intent, why would you not want traffic from people that are already looking from what you offer? And over time, it's substantially less expensive than paid search. I think a lot of people fall into working with SEOs that don't know what they're doing. That's probably the most common objection we see when we talk to people about SEO. They say, well, we tried it, it didn't work. And then we go run an audit or, do a little looking around, and I can't even figure out what this other agency did for them. And so there's, it's not always tactic specific. People say, well, I tried Facebook ads or I tried SEO, it didn't work. They're not, every tactic isn't for every company, but a lot of times it's the strategy and execution, not the actual tactic.
Yeah, I'm with you. So is there any other you would like to mention that comes to mind right now?
There are a lot of things that Google tells us, and I don't even want to name anything specific, but there are a lot of things Google tells us not to do or that doesn't work anymore. That's just not true. There are a lot of things that is true about. The things that I was doing, 10 years ago to rank well, we would never, ever do that today because we would never rank again. Google the algorithm's gotten substantially smarter, but they also don't want us to manipulate the algorithm, which is all SEO is, really. And so for listening to Google and what they're putting out as opposed to being in the trenches and seeing what's working and what doesn't work is a game changer. And that goes for a lot of different things. So like if you work with Google or Facebook for them to run your own ads, no, it never works. Like I don't know anybody that's been profitable doing that. Now they know how to use all of those little mechanisms on the back end of those ad platforms, but they don't know any strategies outside the box because at Facebook or Google, they teach you, here's how you do it. And they don't
every
think
single
outside.
day. They call me every single day, and I just hung up on them because there was, well, we are both in one mastermind together, and there was a thread about the reps a few weeks ago, I think. And yeah, it was like, I feel bad about those guys, but I just hung up on them because they're not helpful. And sometimes they want to poach your clients. It was like, it's like crazy. Or they want to convince them directly to do things that, won't work. And they put
Exactly.
you in this conflict with your clients, like, hey, Facebook, like, it was not Mark Zuckerberg, but like Facebook told me one thing. It was this guy. Probably they have never run campaigns before, but you should do an awareness campaign to get conversions, and probably it's not.
Yeah,
It's not.
they don't have any creative strategies. Like a lot of us have had to get scrappy and figure out what's going to work, and we learn from each other in the industry. Where they come in and they have this set way of doing things,
Yeah,
and they say, it's not
yeah,
effective. I've seen the same thing with Google too. It just doesn't seem
exactly.
to be effective.
So those probably all I had about SEO, and I know you guys do affiliate as well. I'm really loving that world, but I understand zero, like the zero about affiliate. But I get to know business owners all the time that use it and are really in love with it. And I want to understand why. So luckily for me that I have you here to explain me and the audience, why do you think affiliate can help e-commerce store owners?
Yeah, so you're not alone in that. Most people know what affiliate marketing is, but they don't really know how to utilize it properly. So, um, affiliate marketing is essentially building commission-only sales forces for your e-commerce store. I've never owned a business that somebody could approach me and say, "Hey, I'll build you a commission-only sales force for your business, and it's not going to take any of your time. Are you interested?" I would never say no. Like if it doesn't take my time, it's commission only. I mean, we have a fee plus some commission, but as far as the affiliates go, it's commission only. Why would you not do it? It's like the highest risk, lowest risk, highest reward marketing channel there is. So affiliates are good for a number of reasons. So the way that most people do it, that is the reason it doesn't scale and people think it doesn't work as well, is they pretty much just use it as like a referral platform. So their friends, family, customers, they can, get a little URL, unique URL, send it to some people, post it on social. You're not going to drive many sales from that. You might get a couple people that, can do all right. But we want big publishers that can drive a lot of sales and a lot of traffic. So it's not just it's really building out a full funnel within your affiliates. So I put it in two buckets. So one side is discovery. So that's going to be a lot of top of funnel brand awareness, things like bloggers, influencers, things like that. So it's discovering your brand through other people. That's going to drive a lot of top of funnel traffic. And then the other side is helping boost conversions. So that would be, so on the discovery side, it might be, so we have a client, I'm sitting next to my dog on his dog bed right now. So for an example on the discovery side, it would be somebody searching best dog beds for big dogs. They go to a review site that lists the best dog beds for big dogs. They find our client Bully Beds on there. And then they go to their website, check them out. And now they're put in all of his, retargeting campaigns and things like that. Then on the flip side, there are people that have found Bully Beds, but they want to see third-party reviews to make sure that, all the reviews on the site, add up, and that they want just an unbiased review, basically. So then they might go search Bully Beds reviews. And from there, they're going to see a third-party review. It's going to build that trust and social proof, and they're going to come back and convert. So it really helps get your brand out there and just build out that digital footprint. But at the same time, it can drive a lot of sales and a lot of conversions if done properly.
And probably someone skeptical would say, "What's the trick? I mean, no fees, only commission based. Why am I not doing it? I mean, what's the catch?" Let's say.
Yeah, so that's the biggest thing. It's a lot of people think it's just too good to be true. So realistically, if you don't have a lot, so on that top of funnel discovery side, if you don't already have a substantial amount of traffic, it's going to be really tough to gain traction. If you have a product that's like really innovative, there's not much competition, and so you can pitch affiliates based on, hey, we're the only one that does this, you can get some traction there. But if they can trade you out, if the affiliates at the end of the day, they care about how much money they're making. So if they can incentivize people to click through to your site, and then once they get to that site, is it going to convert? And so if they can trade you out for a brand that, one, has more brand awareness, two, they know their site converts better, they're probably going to trade you out for that other brand. So for a brand new brand, I don't oftentimes think that affiliates is going to, it can be a waste of time. I would put more emphasis on influencers, that you're not going to drive as many sales from influencers as affiliates. A lot of that's because a lot of our affiliates are like evergreen. We rely on their SEO and things like that. But if influencers, if done properly, can build a lot of brand awareness, and then you can start, down a affiliate path. I think that's probably the biggest hurdle, is brands that are brand new, don't have a lot of recognition. And a lot of what we pitch our affiliates with is data. And so if we don't have a lot of data to be able to pitch with, or you have like a 1% conversion rate because you haven't done any CRO, you have a lot of top of funnel traffic and not lower funnel traffic that's going to convert better. And in the affiliate platforms, a lot of them, the affiliates can see what the conversion rate is, at least from the affiliate traffic. So if it's like, 1%, they're not going to pick you up. So there's a lot of things that you have to do to build your brand out before you go down that route. So like our minimum is you have to be doing $100,000 a month in sales for us to approve you. Now, if you're a brand new brand that's doing, well on your way to that, we'll take you. But we have a pretty intense vetting process to be qualified to work with us.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, you don't want to waste anyone's time, and you want to make sure that you can help them. So that's cool. I mean, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I know zero about this. But from my point of view, what I understand from what you're saying is that it's probably the next big thing once a brand has reached the 7-figure mark, or more or less. So it's like, okay, so what? I mean, I'm getting this traffic and revenue from paid ads, SEO stuff. So what else can I do to keep growing? So affiliate there, it's probably the easy button, let's say, to press.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it's easy, because you have to have relationships and build relationships. So we have a lot of clients in similar industries that we can go back and leverage those relationships. So we've landed we've placed over 10,000 affiliates with brands now. And so if we have a dog bed brand and now we get a dog food brand, we can reach back out to all these dog bloggers and review sites and things like that. So we're kind of a few leaps ahead of, if you're trying to do it yourself. But at the end of the day, if you have a tighter budget and you want to add a new channel, and even not hiring an affiliate agency, just doing it yourself, it's free. It's commission only. You pay them on the back end. There's no risk other than your time. So I would highly recommend people starting there. The one issue that people run into doing it themselves is not understanding how to work with the coupon sites, and not understanding who can drive sales, kind of the purpose of why we use these affiliates. So a lot of them will go and try to use influencers. And here's what happens with influencers as far as sales go. You pitch an influencer for one, a lot of times they don't drive sales because you're not getting enough frequency and overlap. That's one of the biggest issues I see with influencer marketing in general. But even if you do well, you get these sales the day they post, then it goes down. And then if they post again, you get these sales and they go down. And so understanding how to make evergreen content and who makes that evergreen content that you're going to get consistent sales on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. People don't understand how to do that. And for two, they don't understand how to build out a funnel within there and how to leverage different partners. And so for instance, if you're a subscription brand, or you have just a really high lifetime value of a customer, you can pay a lot of money to those affiliates to incentivize them up front. But if you're paying a content publisher 50%, that's really high. But a lot of people just want that customer the first time because they know they're going to sell them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times after that. And that's all they're worried about is that LTV. You don't need to pay 50% to a coupon site. The coupon site's not going to drop you anyways. They use data aggregators that go out and scrape the web, throw coupons on there. And so what you need, you can't get away from the coupon site. So a lot of people you either fall in that bucket that is you're paying them way too much, or you're on the other side of we want to avoid all of them. Well, you can't avoid them. So what happens if you don't approve them to your programs is they still scrape the web. They still keep your brand on there. Sure, you're not paying them, but they have a bunch of discounts that don't work. They're not active. They look like they might offer a 50% discount and people expect to pay that, and then it doesn't work, and then they only find a 5% discount or a free shipping discount. And the data shows that the type of consumer looking for a coupon code and going to coupon sites, they only purchase, like 80 something percent of them only purchase if they find an active coupon code. And so what you should do, instead of just not working with them and then you have no control over what they put on their page, is throw them a lower percent, or incentivize them in one way or another, but work with them to make sure that they're aggregating proper codes that will actually work. Because you're either going to lose that sale, or they're just, by them not purchasing at all, or they're going to go to a competitor that they can find an active code on. And that's one of the biggest issues there.
That's very interesting. I compared that to that time I mentioned earlier about, I mean, when we started with the social media, with the organic thing, it's like the same conversation, but should I be on social media? Now it's not a conversation like, should I have a website? It's not a conversation, but probably the same one that you're saying right now for affiliate, or for, sorry, coupon sites. Is like, should I be there? And what we told brands then is what you're saying now, is that you are already there. You need to control the conversation. That's all.
That's exactly
But you
right.
are there whether you like it or not. Even more if you're a well-known brand, people are talking about you, but you're not saying anything and you're not controlling that. So people are saying whatever. In this case, people are posting, or platforms are posting whatever coupons that don't work. People get frustrated with you. They might even leave you a bad review because the coupons don't work, because it's your fault and not the coupon site for them, right? So it could turn into many, not great things for the brand. So how do you work with them? You said that one way is to give them a small commission, or what are some of the ways to work with those sites?
Well, so one thing you could do is give them smaller commissions, but then work with them and say, hey, if you feature us on the homepage for a weekend or for a day or whatever the time period is, we'll give you this percentage. And then we throw them a higher percentage like we would a content site. Those are really, that's used well for like cashback sites and things like that. Offering to, if they put you an email blast, you pay them a higher percentage. There's a couple things too. So that the way that the affiliate platforms are set up from an attribution model is last click. It's how all of them, for the most part, are set up. So what we do is we will work with the brands and go in and create custom conversion lines to get away from that last click attribution. Because what happens is, if we have a review site, so we'll use this example again, best dog beds for big dogs. They find the brand from that site. We're getting a lot of clicks. They rank on the first page of Google. They have a big email list. We're getting a lot of consistent traffic from this affiliate. We want to make sure they're happy with our brand, because they can go find another big dog brand, big dog bed brand to promote. And so we can change that attribution to make sure that they're incentivized, because they're getting paid. And so if somebody finds the brand through that search query, goes through that review site, and then they get, they're trying to find a coupon code, and they go to a coupon site right before they purchase, well, naturally through the affiliate platforms, that coupon site is going to get paid that commission. So we go about this one of two ways. For bigger brands, oftentimes we want that coupon site to get paid, because we can pay them a lower commission. So we might have a 15 or 20% commission for the content site and 2 to 5% for the coupon site. And we know that they're not going to drop a big brand. There's a lot of brand recognition. People know who they are, and they're making plenty of money from them. And so we're going to funnel that down to pay a lower percent out at the end. Where on the flip side, if we have a brand that needs a lot of top of funnel traffic and a lot of brand awareness, and we're really building out that digital footprint, we're going to change those conversion lines to pay that content publisher. We'll go in and tag all the publishers basically on like a priority list of who gets paid. And so it's all like on a brand to brand basis. We're building custom strategies for, all the brands that we bring in.
Yeah, I can
That's
tell
a couple ways we approach that.
Yeah, it sounds really complex, and it sounds like you know what you're doing, of course. So I couldn't do it by myself if I were you guys listening. So it's probably a waste of time and money. So why not hire someone like Philip, that has been doing this for a long time now and sharing a lot of value right now. So yeah, this is all really interesting. And one thing I wanted to add about the coupon sites is that is like I know, or I can imagine some of the objections you get. You can name a few if you want, but one, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like, hey, I mean, are if I post this coupon code on this coupon site, I might get a lot of like people like I don't know, existing buyers or new buyers that don't check those sites often, finding those coupons all over the internet, buy from me, or is it just as you said, a target audience that without those they wouldn't have bought anyway, but if they have those, they would buy. So you're actually getting customers that you wouldn't have gotten without that.
Yeah, exactly. It's helping boost your conversions.
Okay, awesome. That's great. So last but not least, we can talk about retention through email and SMS. Uh, I will start with the classic. Probably, I know some people ask because you've been sharing some examples of comments or objections or yeah, myth from or false beliefs from prospects for SEO and for affiliates. So for email, I guess it's is email dead?
Email is not dead. I don't think that there's many misconceptions with email being dead. I think that there are misconceptions about how you approach email, and it's far on one side or the other, really from like a volume standpoint. And what I mean by that is either people want to spam the hell out of their list and they're emailing them every day, and they get a bunch of unsubscribes and get negative connotations with the brand and things of that nature. Or it's the other side, and they are so afraid of being spammy that they don't want to send emails at all, or they send like one newsletter a month. And so there are ways to find, you have to find that happy medium. And what it really comes down to is segmentation and personalization. If you're sending emails that are so personalized because you understand that buyer behavior and what they like, what they don't like, what they've bought in the past, all of these different things, when certain things would consumable products, when they would need to reorder another one, or when you have a product, when does it wear out? What complements the products these people bought? When you send them emails and text that are directly related to what they have showed interest in, they're not turned off by that at all. So you can send those more frequently. If you're just sending a mass email to everybody, not based on anything that they've done in the past, of course you're going to turn people off because it's not relative to them. And it's not going to lead to, it doesn't lead to the same type of sales as when you have triggers based on, intent and behavior.
I guess that if you don't care as a brand, if you don't care about the message you're sending to your audience, they don't care about receiving it either, right? But if you truly
Right.
care, and if you put some thoughts, strategy, if it's custom, if it adds value, they will care, right? And that's true.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you want to build relationships with your customers. People always talk about that. You want your brand to have, people to feel like they have a relationship with your brand. When you start having tens, hundreds, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of customers, you can't reach out to every person and have this same, brand to consumer experience that you have as this small brand when you're doing everything and trying to have all these touch points. But what you can do is show them that you care by being personal with them. And this is the way you can do that at mass scale. It's still caring about your customer. It's just in, a way that doesn't take so much day-to-day time.
100%. And I know this is really custom, but do you have any like basic, let's say, advice? If it's not like once a month email, should it be at least once a week? Or I know it depends, but I will leave that to you.
Yeah, so the answer is certainly it depends. A lot of it has to do with the product line. So if you have one product that you're selling, that there aren't going to be a lot of repeat orders on, you don't want to just keep pushing your same product over and over and over and over. So that would be less frequent. Whereas if you have a product line that's larger and you have a lot of products that complement each other, you can get away with sending them more frequently because you can set up a lot more triggers and a lot more segmentation within that. So those are very, very high level and basic, but those are kind of two main things that allow you to send things more often or less often.
That's great. Um, I think we have covered it all about SEO, affiliate, and SMS. Is there anything about those topics that you would like to add?
I don't think about any of those topics specifically. The one thing that contributes to your success in all of those channels and all of your other channels is a website. Like people are like, look, our website looks great. And we go to it and the website's very pretty. It's very aesthetically pleasing and it has nothing set up for conversions. And so there's the fine line of, you get these branding agencies that build these beautiful websites that have no performance models behind them at all. And so we just get in there and, the performance people tear it apart. And then you have the other side, then you have these performance marketers, whether it's SEO that just has so much copy that nobody's going to get through the site and it just doesn't read well. Or you have people that all they're focused on is like a lot of the people that do direct response advertising, where it's all, like ClickFunnels type websites and things like that look terrible, but are set up just for conversions. And building a brand, you need to have more brand clarity and things like that. And finding that mesh of truly being able to build a brand that speaks to your audience and tells them who you are, while at the same time having a website that is built to convert. Because at the end of the day, pretty website doesn't drive sales. You have to make money off of your traffic. And so it's finding that happy medium that a lot of people have trouble finding.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, a shout out to Tanner Larson at Build, Grow, Scale. We recorded an episode with Tanner probably a year ago talking about the leaky bucket, referring to the website, right? So if you spend money on agencies, fees for, I don't know, ad spend or whatever, time, right? Most of all, to build, your traffic base and to send traffic to your website, and then only to send traffic to your website only to lose it a few seconds later, it's like not worth it, right? So what you're saying is really important. You should have a website that converts. You should have a clear website. It should not only convert, but as you said, it should communicate who you are, why you do things, your mission. We discussed recently with the director of e-commerce at Overtime why people nowadays don't buy they don't buy products, they buy experiences. They leverage a lot of collaborations, a lot of ambassadors, a lot of things, because people want to buy from brands that stand for something, that fight their own battles, and people love them. And it's not only products, so you definitely need to stand out, whatever your differentiator is. But you should communicate that, and you're totally right about that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So this has been great. I would like to ask you about the books that you can recommend the audience, or not the books that you can recommend them about these topics specifically. It could be any book that you love and read.
Yeah. So I'm an avid reader. Probably my biggest book recommendation to most people is Influence by Robert Cialdini or something like that.
Yeah, I like Robert Cialdini or something like that. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Like it's got this like the psychology of persuasion. So with anything marketing and sales related, it really relates to life in general. Like there's negotiations we have every day with everything that we're doing. But it basically, like in short, it's about the concept of, if our brains had to actually think through and analyze every decision we made all day, like it would be impossible. It would take too much time. And so it's about all the shortcuts that are set up in our brains. And I don't want to say it's about how to manipulate those, but it's how to understand those to help influence people's decision making, which is exactly what we're doing throughout a buying process, right?
Yeah.
So that would be my one book for anybody in sales or marketing to read, but really that could be effective for anybody that has to deal with people.
I read it, and that's a great book. Have you read Persuasion? Is the other one he released after Influence?
I don't think that I have read that. I've heard of it, but I don't think I have read that. I'll have to put it on my list.
Yeah, it's in my wish list, but I think it's like before you even start talking, it's like how you, it's like the prep phase before you even start talking, how you present yourself or whatever. But yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Yeah. And what about, I don't know, mentors or advisors? Do you have any?
That's somewhere that I really lack. That it's an area that I lack in. My professional career has been much different than most people's. So I started my first business in college, and it kind of took off quickly. So like I've never had a job, which really makes me need mentors more because I've never been inside of a corporation. Like the processes and systems we put in place, I've had to just really dig and teach myself a lot of things. Joining the mastermind with Jason Swank, that's kind of the purpose of doing that. I just joined 2 months ago, so this will be my second. I just finished my second month, and I've gotten a lot of value from that. It's really helpful. But that is one thing that I don't know if regret is the right word, but one thing that I probably should have done earlier in my career is find business mentors. And I kind of did early on, not about business in general, but about like specific industries I was in. And now, we're building a business that's much bigger than what we've had in the past and growing pretty quickly that, having people that have walked that path before would definitely be very helpful. And so being in the mastermind with, I think there's like 70 agency owners in there or something. Everybody's going through the same things and has dealt with similar growing pains and things that, I'm excited to learn from all of y'all.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, I really enjoyed the conversation. This was pretty interesting, and I learned a lot already. And I know that I should get some of my clients probably to say, "Hey, we should do some affiliates because you're ready now." Because I know you're ready now. I don't know what to do or how to get started there, but I know this is for you, and I know this is not for you, but this is for you and for you. So that's good.
Yeah, we'll send them our way. We'd love to help them out.
Yeah, and it's good for those listening that, yeah, whether something that we mentioned here is for you. If you were having second thoughts on, I don't know, doing SEO, affiliates for email and SMS, now probably we answered some of those questions. And in case we didn't, feel free to reach out. As always, there will be show notes for these episodes, the video version, of course, if you're watching it, and the audio version, in case you're not watching the video version and you want to watch it, you will see our beautiful faces here on camera. And in case you prefer to avoid that, you can, of course, you listen to the video version, to the audio version. So before we go, please tell the audience where they can go to learn more about you and your company.
Yeah, so you can find us. Our website is purebredmarketing.com. And you can find me on LinkedIn, Philip Hill, Philip with one L. That's an issue many people have in finding me. And you can email me directly to philip@purebredmarketing.com. Pretty easily accessible.
That's awesome. Well, again, everything will be in the show notes. So in case you didn't get that, you'll be able to find the links there and click on everything that was mentioned. Philip, it was great to have you on the show. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.